Ayo joins me live now from Yola. The last time you were there, Ayo, voting lasted into the night. What's happening today?
Oh, it's a lot better. It's a far cry from what happened 3 weeks ago. This is Aliyu Mustafa College, and checking the time now, this is a polling unit. What is happening at this polling unit is the process of sorting. They are just sorting the ballot papers, and party agents, security officials, and people are actually waiting anxiously to actually see the outcome of the whole exercise. So that means they started here at about 8:30, and by 2:30, it was done and dusted. Korean College that I was before, by 11 a.m. in the morning, they finished voting. But one thing I noticed, Nifemi, is that the turnout wasn't as encouraging like the presidential election that we had 3 weeks ago. So low turnout is what I witnessed around Adamawa State, and that is not in any way, that is not impugning the credibility of the whole exercise. I must tell you, a lot of improvement on the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission. As at 7 a.m., they got on location today. And this is Aliyu Mustafa College, the former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that Nuru Ribadu actually exercised his franchise earlier, and I spoke to him.
Well, you spoke earlier to the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He seemed to think differently. What exactly is his position?
Nifemi, you will understand the plight of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He was a candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and the outcome 3 weeks ago did not favor him. So he went straight ahead. He passed a vote of no confidence, and he described the Independent National Electoral Commission as a discredited organization. So that was in his own words. So I'm going to take you back earlier at the Aliyu Mustafa College. Nuri Badu, the former EFCC chairman, actually exercised his own franchise here.
It's very peaceful here in Yola, and particularly my own unit here in Dodore, Bakowad. It's happened extremely very peaceful, and I think this is a very successful exercise. This is the culmination of the 2023 elections. 3 weeks ago we did the presidential, and now we have done the remaining ones. And we are okay, we are very okay, we are very happy. What matters is, the people are spoken by their votes. The contenders, God gives who He wants power. And hopefully, those who are going to be winners will understand and bring all together. The loser as well will also accept the fact that, of course, this is the will of God.
Different strokes for different folks. Ayo, Nuhu Ribadu seemed quite pleased with how the voting turned out where he voted. Walk us through the security infrastructure from the things you've witnessed earlier today.
Oh, at every intersection leading to this venue, we have armed military men, on a stop and check mission. They will stop you, they will search your car, and you will have to ask for this, that beyond your ID card as a journalist, they will ask for the accreditation of the Independent National Electoral Commission before you are asked to move around. So this polling unit now, you can see what is happening here now. The electoral officers are sorting the ballot papers party by party, one by one, and after sorting it, they are going to start the process of counting. Ifemi, is interesting. As a result of the low turnout, what they first did was that after the whole exercise, the ballot papers, the rest of the ballot papers, they cancelled it one by one, manually, so that it's not going to be used elsewhere and it will be used here. But if you see the number of the papers, the ballot sheets that were cancelled, it took them some hours to actually be done. Can I see the rest of the ballot papers? So they cancelled it, and yes, Okay, you've not finished cancelling it. They've not. So they will cancel it to nullify it to make sure that it's not used elsewhere. So this is the process of sorting. One of these ballot box is for the governorship election. The other is for the national, State House of Assembly. And here, and at this polling unit, at this school, I have like 6 polling units. And while some are still busy counting it, but the other polling units adjoining to this place, people are just lined up with keen interest watching. And because of an incident earlier, they've had to bring armed security men to make sure that there's no breakdown of law and order. You can see some security men there carrying arms. Normally, if it was during the voting process, they wouldn't have allowed anybody to come around here with armed security men around this area. But voting is over, so to forestall the breakdown of law and order, during the process of counting and collation, some armed security guys came here just to make sure that everything is okay. But they weren't here when the voting was happening. Now, I can even show you an example of a police officer that is not armed, that is manning this polling unit. You can see the police officer is just standing there, observing everything that is happening, but he's not carrying arms. He's not armed, and he has been here since the exercise started around 8:30 in the morning, and he has been watching and observing everything that is happening here. And we even have party agents, party supporters, one by one. They are still here, and they want to participate in the counting process. Some will wait, and some, because of the sun, it's like 44 degrees here in Adamawa. The weather is so harsh. I'll tell you, Nifemi.
And it's pretty cold right here in the studio. I know you would be willing to change to switch positions with me, but I was also in the sun earlier, by the way. Let's talk about vote buying for a bit, Ayo, because it was a big deal before this election. They say that's why we don't have cash to spend. Did you see AFCC operatives? Was it something that policemen were looking out for in those areas that you monitored today?
Okay, Nifemi, before we go into that, okay, it's just let you have a feel of what is happening here. So they are sorting.
PDP.
This
PDP. APC. APC. PDP. APC. PDP.
So this is Aliyu Mustafa College, and it is one of the polling units 006 here. They call this place a Bako, and party agents are lined up here, and all other interested voters still waiting. They want to hear the result as the sorting is being done. And if for what you asked before, the old officers' quarters at Jia Hall, the venue of where Atiku Abubakar actually voted, the former vice president. I saw men of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. They were there, they came around for surveillance, but I can tell you so far, in the last 3 weeks, I've not seen cash exchange hand. I've not seen any attempt like what we used to have before of, attempt of vote buying or see and buy that we had in the past. Maybe because of the cash crunch we have around the country, but I've not seen anybody being induced to vote all around. Even today in Adamawa State, as far as I'm concerned, I've not seen any.
Ayo, the producers want you to leave up with some natural sound from the sorting that is taking place. So if you can take the mic close to the woman so we can hear from her.
PDP. 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 APC. ADP. APC. PDP. 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 APC. 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 PDP. APC. 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 APC.
All right. Ayo, quickly just walk us through what you have observed as regards the enthusiasm of the people generally in Yola since you got there, relative to what happened during the presidential election.
I think people are tired. People just want to get today over with. From the feelers I got in the last 3 days, they want this election to be over with so that they can have their normal life back. And those ones that are disposed to it are the ones that turned up at the polling units today to actually exercise the franchise. And we have over 2,000 number of registered voters in the 21 local government in Adamawa, but at the end of the presidential election, just under 800,000 people participated in that exercise. And I think the figure is 730-something thousand people actually exercised their franchise. At the end of today, we'll be able to decide, from when the result comes from 21 local governments, we're able to decide the number of people, maybe it increased or it decreased. But from what I've seen so far, I can tell you it's not like 3 weeks before.
What about the voter demography in those polling units that you visited? Which group was more prominent? Men, women, young people? Did you see persons with disabilities being aided and helped according to the provision of the Electoral Act?
When it comes to the northern part of the country, I can tell you that you can't really tell the number of men and the turnout or women. As you can see even people that voted in the last 3 hours, they are still waiting behind to see what is happening. And I can't count the number of women I can see here, and you can see men too at this other side. The level of awareness is something that is awesome, quite when it comes to the northern part of the country. So where you have young, definitely we've seen old men earlier today and old women earlier today. People will be aided to their polling units and they exercise their franchise, but those ones cannot stand the rigor of having to wait after the whole exercise to wait, till this counting and sorting is done. It's quite stressful. So the people that you are seeing around here are basically young men and women that are watching with keen interest. They want to see the outcome of what they've done.
Well, you've been quite a good company, Ayo. We'll be sure that we'll be back with you for more updates. Senior political correspondent Ayodele Ozugbakun live for us in Yola, Adamawa State.